Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael J. Long, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Today is July the 2nd, 2012, and, I guess it's 5:21 p.m., so my clock on my cell phone's behind, on my laptops anyways, is behind time. Now, on my previous video, I pointed out how Laredo, Texas refuses to combat illegal immigration, legalize drugs, or even give everyone the right to bear arms. Now, I didn't mean any offense to any of my friends or anybody that lives there with in terms of how to handle immigration. I've been very neutral on that point. I've just said that they refuse to combat illegal immigration. I didn't say that. Oh, I'm in favor of combating illegal immigration or whatever. I'm not. I haven't said that. I'm not. I've just said that. Look, they refuse to do it. That simple. Now, however you might think about illegal immigration from abroad, I know when you look at border towns like Laredo, Texas, that are just you know that the majority of people in its population, the majority of people who favor illegal immigration, they favor it because they're either living in that city as illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants themselves, or maybe they have relatives that are living there as illegal aliens and stuff like that. Certain portions of them can be legalized. They can get a pathway to legal residence, and maybe even a green card for all as I know. I'm not saying you have to do what Arizona's doing. By checking every single illegal alien on the highway and the roads and all that. I'm not saying you go door to door. I'm not saying that. That is something you could do. You could have an Arizona style immigration policy. But, I don't care what type of immigration policy you have. At some point, the federal government is refusing to enforce our immigration laws, and at some point, you got to look at what's best for the people from abroad. And at some point, you may have to have some kind of immigration enforcement going on. There are people that, break the laws. There are people that are starving, they're thirsty, they're hungry, there are a lot of legitimate reasons why someone might come here illegally. But if you're going to come in, commit crime, or even make the effort to underbid, first off, if you come in illegally, you should probably immediately seek help and try to get legalized. Border Patrol, Customs, they're not out to get you. They're not going to try to deport you. They're going to figure out whether to deport you or legalize you. And they may even have a hearing on this through a court. As long as you don't have a criminal background, as long as you are trying to seek the help, you may even be qualified to get a work visa program on a temporary basis. You can work, but the requirement for that is you're going to have to work above minimum wage or below or within minimum wage or whatever. But I just don't see a lot of people doing that. If they come in illegally, it's like, well, we're going to underbid. But then what do you do about all the locals who might need a job in that particular field or industry? And so, see, this is what I'm trying to get people to understand here, is illegal immigration is a sensitive issue, but you have to enforce the rules and the laws. You have to make it fair for everybody. You have to sort of almost combat illegal immigration because there are various ways of doing that. But I'm not saying you do it like Arizona's doing it. I'm not saying you could if you want. But you got to think about other people too. Not just, and I hear this about Laredo, Texas all the time, and their local politicians who go on Pro 8 News. Oh, more immigration is good for the city. Yeah, but it's not good for the local people who were born and raised in that city now, is it? Unless you, I don't think it's been debated in any. I don't think it has to be pragmatically digested. You have to figure out what you're going to do. You can't just let people come in illegally just so that they can do whatever they want. Now, when you're trying to come into this country legally, you're required to do a criminal background check, economic background checks, medical background check, medical checks, criminal justice checks. I mean, they make you go through every hoop. They want to know who. They want to make sure you're not a threat. Economically, that you don't pose a communicable disease threat, and that ultimately you're not a criminal justice or national security threat. Okay, that's what happens when you and that's why the process takes so long. And of course, we can reduce the pricing and stuff. But look, here's the deal. You know, at some level, what are you going to do about people who may need jobs that live in Laredo, for say, that were born and raised there? What kind of jobs are they going to get if they got people that are going to just take their jobs that just came in illegally or undocumented? And one might understand why that illegal took that job. Well, maybe, you know, he was poor, la-di-da, and that they wouldn't hire him if he worked within minimum wage or above. Because typically, an average American or documented immigrant would require that they be paid excellently well, get substantial amount of benefits, you know? And a lot of these people, a lot of the people managing those positions, they don't want to do any of that. Then an illegal, undocumented immigrant might come along and may not want to do it for the money, or at least, for the benefits and all that, but just to get a little bit of money. The problem with that, and I understand the situation in Mexico and Latin America, a lot of people want jobs, and they can't get over there, then they come here. But whether illegally or legally. But what about everybody else? And so you have to have standards. You have to have some kind of enforcement on it. You can't, you gotta, let me just point out, you just gotta balance it. If you're gonna have illegal immigration, you have to balance it. Yeah, in one way or another, whether you like it or not, you have to combat illegal immigration at some point, at some level. You have to try to deal with it as much as you can, the best way you can. Because if you're, one might understand why someone that came in illegally would want to get a job. Oh, because we had to come here illegally, we're starving, thirsty, our families are dying, la-di-da. But what about the people you're affecting by taking those jobs? They might have similar circumstances. If they don't get a job, their house is going to go foreclosure. They're going to be out on the streets. So, what are you going to do? You can't make everybody happy. So you have to pick your side. That's the whole point. Webb County has a bankruptcy that is completely unbelievable. And, another point I want to make, aside from immigration, is you do also have to legalize the drugs. Because then you can regulate it. When you regulate it, you can keep it away from little children and teenagers and preteens. And you can go after gangs and people that don't have license to then distribute the drugs. And this will then allow you the resources to go after the cartels and require them to have licenses to do trade with you. Then if they don't have that license, then they can't distribute the drugs. Then they get busted. The license would require that you have a history of not killing or murdering or to whatever reason, or because the cartels are terroristic. They don't get their way, they're gonna kill someone. So, but anyways, when you legalize drugs, you can regulate it. Third point I want to make is if you can give everyone the right to bear arms, then everybody will be able to defend themselves, which is the greatest deterrence against crime, which serves as a better alternative than filling the streets with multiple street cameras and stuff like that. So these are some kind of common sense solutions that maybe the city of Laredo in Texas should implement. Because it really truly would be a lifesaver if the city wasn't focused so much on reducing crime, but provided individual responsibility, letting the citizens buy their own weapons. And then there are ways you can keep it away from criminals who may want to buy it. So this is what the city can do in Laredo, Texas, to help reduce crime without having to violate anybody's civil liberties. And I just don't like the fact that they put street cameras and cameras all over the city for this so-called notion of reducing crime when and having, cops, abuse their powers. I mean, you ride in that damn city and there's a cop car and it looks like he's got an emergency due time. He puts his sirens on and goes, wee, 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 wee. And as he drives by, he takes his siren off, the lights off, and he just drives on just to get out of traffic. So, these people are allowed to abuse their powers, and then everybody else has got to freaking sit there and wait in line. Much less like when you try to skip in the lunch line and then everybody else takes offense to it. Something I used to do when I was in high school. But, these cops, the point to be made here, these cops act like they have, like they're powerful, they're almighty. And these local politicians, they're allowed to do whatever they want, when they want, how they want. They do everything within their own interest. And they pander to certain groups and all this stuff. But what one group might want, another group might be opposite to. And, we need to clean the city up. Whoever is there. That's why that's the whole point of having elections. It's not so you can get Rick Flores in there so he can, take out people who didn't vote for him. Sound familiar, Laredo? It's not so that you can get Martin Cuellar in there so he can buy some fancy $500 multi-million freaking van to watch out for crime. This little entertainment USV that's got multiple cameras and computers in it, some type of command vehicle that is located somewhere in Webb County and monitors all the free activity in Laredo. It's ridiculous. And the taxpayers of all of the United States flipped the bill for it. Okay? So, this is going overboard on reducing crime. It truly is. There are other ways to combat crime, and I just pointed some of the methods you could use. Deal with immigration the best you can. Legalize drugs. Give everyone the right to bear arms. Regulate immigration. So that, but instead we're going to put drones in the sky. We're going to have a command vehicle. We're going to have automatic ticketer sections. It's ridiculous. This has got to stop. And, people who threaten other people who have differences of opinions, they threaten their lives and livelihoods and stuff, they have to be prosecuted. If there's probable cause that person is threatening that particular individual, he or she needs to be prosecuted in the court of law through a jury trial or whatever means, and needs to be convicted and put away. So anyways, I'm Michael J. Long, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.